Hello and welcome along to TGP2. It's season 25. It is rounds 13 and 14. And we are currently watching the end of qualifying for race 1 this evening, and that is Hungary. We will be jumping over the pond later on this evening to France, the same races as TGP1 yesterday. 18-minute qualifying sessions with a 25% race distance like normal. And strict corner cutting as well. There is a few corners around here which will catch drivers out, and you will invalidate your lap times. A few drivers have already made that mistakes of invalidating their lap time. It is Kong Hofner, the current championship leader, with 212 points, some 72 points clear of fellow Danish driver Smokey, who's 20 points clear of fellow Danish driver Dexter. And then it's Jordan and Alistair in 4th and 5th on 124. But we've had 12 races so far this season and 11 Danish winners. Only one outside of Denmark winning this season. That was Alistair, so the Scotsman picking up a win there. Will we see a different nationality win tonight? It'd be good to see. Maybe some, maybe not English. Not biased at all. But it'd be good to see some different nationalities up there. But yeah, Hungary and France, two very different circuits.
Definitely, yes. Sorry about that. I was too busy laughing at your hilarious, not hilarious joke. But yeah, they're two very different tracks. Hungary, tight and twisty, kind of like you need a Monaco setup effectively. You can go a little bit less on the wings on the game, obviously. It's a bit more forgiving than Monaco, let's say. And France, which we'll see later on, definitely is more about straight line speed as you're on full throttle for more than 50% of the lap. So two very different tracks here, as we've got just about 2.5 minutes left of this qualifying session.
2.5 minutes are remaining. As you can hear Phil opening some of the drink. I'm going to guess a can of Coke.
That would be correct, yes. This does not sponsor TGP2 at all.
I think it should though. I'm brewing for TGP1 because I'm brewing just the better one. But 2:20 remaining. Provisional pole sitter at the minute is Smokey Jays with a 1:15.9 and currently improving on his lap time by just 20 thousandths off a second in that number 15 Rich Energy Haas. It'll be interesting to see if he can find a bit more time and improve his pole. He's also got Kong chasing behind him. He's got the whole field currently chasing. I believe we have Alistair on his final run as well. Most drivers will be on the final run. That was a Haas off. It was Smokey, so he's not going to be improving there. So tensions now turn to Kong.
Sorry, and Jose was also off as well.
Joe was also off. Yes, I see a slow moving Toro Rosso icon, so that indicates that he was off. That shows the sector 2 yellow flag. So Kong now will be the first car to cross the line on what seems to be his final run. I'm not sure when his final runs are because he completed 2 in Singapore. Up to the line he goes, and it's only a 16.0, so still the 10th off, so not good for him. I believe we have will be Alistair coming round next to cross the line in the Renault. Can he get anywhere near pole position? It's 1:16.1, so 2/10 off pole position. Jordan also on a lap as well. We have Dexter on an out lap as well, along with Lee even. So Jordan will be the next car, I believe, to come across the line, and really the only car that can challenge for pole position. Started the season off quite slowly, but it's finding his feet again. It was very quick last season. Unlucky to lose out to Jack Craig.
Mike Noon's round on his quick lap as well. Turn 4 again, catching him out.
It is a very... Is that the uphill left-hander?
Yes it is, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he's collected Dom!
Oh no! Dom was on a run as well by that battery usage as well.
Yeah, Dom Smith was on the flying lap. Mike was on the outside, and I think Dom either got distracted or ran wide and collected him on his flying laps. There's 2 flying laps done already.
It's not good then for Dom Smith. Feely's actually put himself up into 3rd, so it's a Renault 3-4 as it stands. Lee on his lap time as well though. Where can he put his Mercedes? Car number 66. Can he get anywhere near his brother? He'll be wanting to dislodge that Renault as a 3rd and 4th and maybe make it a Merc 2-3 or even pole if he can get up there. He's got a bit of traffic towards the end of this lap, so definitely not good for him. rounding the final corner. Where can he put that Merc yellow flag in sector 2 and 3? I believe that's for the Alfa Romeo off. And goes Paul with a 1:15.7. So Lee quicker the hand of those two this season. But Lee putting his foot down, saying he's still here. Don't forget about me. A 1:15.7. That's only 2 tenths off what I did in TGP1, and I was third. Do these guys have to come up?
I think they will be, definitely. I think the only one left on a lap, I think, is Marco. He's coming into the final corner now. So he's P9 currently, so it's a decent showing so far from Marco here. See if this improves his lap time any. He does, he moves up I think, to P8 there.
I think he did indeed. It was 8th place then for Marco. So I'll do what I normally do when I'm with someone, and I'll hand over to Phil for the rundown, because I can't be bothered doing it. What?
So your grid for the TGP Hungarian Grand Prix: Lee Hoffner on pole, 1:15.8 effectively. Smokey Jason second. Kong Hoffner in third, your championship leader. Feely in fourth, good result for him. His teammate Alistair behind. Jordan 6th, Dexter 7th, Marco, as we saw there, moving up to 8th place. Spaz in 9th, he's probably just a bit disappointed with that. Jacko ran at the top 10, and we've got Jose, Chris Johnson, Dom Smith, Angel versus Death, Mike Noon, Jack Hickey, Boston Sean, and Wace. Is that Wace?
If it's like the W5 one, yeah, that's Wace, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Rounded out the runners and riders today.
Just putting the links out, so that's why I wasn't really focused. Just trying to put the links to Dom and stuff, seeing as it's not on the TGP channel. This is the Griffins Gaming exclusive, and I'm loving it. Bring in that revenue. Get subscribed. Just waiting now for the final drivers then to do their checks. Be interesting to see what happens. Hungary, it's hard to overtake, but we've got a lot of feisty drivers, and really the top 6 separated by not much, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do. Alistair now has a competitive teammate as well, so it'll be interesting to see how those two play. I wonder if they'll play nice. I know Alistair's not going to. Alistair's not going to want to be passed by his teammate at any cost, but it is 5 lights. No sound, lights out, and away we go. It's Lee from pole, then Smokey, then Kong. It's a good start for them all. It's a clean start so far. Smokey's having to settle in behind. It's a quick start for a Merc behind. There's also Renault on the right hand side. There's also McLaren. That was lag. That was mental. Don't pay attention to that, but it is Lee leading from Smokey, from Feely, from Kong, and then Alistair has kept ahead of Mick Schumacher. I believe Alistair just hit the Merc. They're all tripping over each other at the minute. It's all so close. You've got Marco trying to go around the outside of a Renault as well, and he's found his way past Alistair. A few cars going side by side. There's Alfa Romeo in the back and getting all squirmy, but it's Lee still leading from Smokey, who's gone off. He's hit Feely. He's now hit Alistair. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Alistair out of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Now, I believe Smokey will be getting dragged into the FIA office after that one. Alistair's not going to be happy with that one at all.
Alistair's going to be fuming with that one. Out on lap 1, it was Smokey who started that. The safety car is out, so I'll presume everyone will choose time to change tyres.
Yeah, I would assume so. And I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to run next door and get Alistair's thoughts on that.
So I will do a quick rundown next. We've got Lee Hoffner in first. He's not choosing to pit, and neither is Feely in second. Mick Schumacher, Marco up to third place. The huge beneficiary of that. Jordan up to 4th. First in the pit stops is Dexter. Kong Hoffner as well follows in. And then we've also got Jacko in the pit as well. So quite a few not choosing to pit, which is
a few choosing not to pit. The big loser and all that was Alistair, and Kong has actually dropped all the way down there. Smokey as well. The big gain, although Bossman Sean 11 spots.
McLarens are having a queue and wait there for the racing point of Waste coming in there.
I went to go get the thoughts of the Renault driver, and some people need to learn to drive. Was the comment. I'm not sure Alistair will be too happy the way Smokey rejoined the race circuit. It was a bit dodgy, to be fair. You can't just rejoin. You do if you do spin at the start of a race, you are going to have to wait for everyone to go past.
I didn't quite catch the full thing. I only caught it because I was looking further down the field. At first, I was fearing there was going to be another Jack Craig incident after turn 4. If you haven't seen that, go watch TGP1. It was monstrous.
Well, watch it after this. After this.
I will watch it after this. Yes.
You don't want to miss this. I mean, come on, it's TGP2. First safety car in 2 races as well, so that's good, especially in a Cody's game.
It is. Interesting though that of the pit stops, nearly everyone went on the hard tyres except for Wace, who went on the mediums. Now the mediums can go to the end; they do need a bit of a coaxing, but the safety car will help that. The hard tyres, from my experience around here, are just horrible tyres.
Oh, the hards are. The only way hards work is if it is a scorching day, and it doesn't look like it is. It's cloudy, the sun's hidden, and it just looks a bit dark around the circuit. But even we had 2 safety cars yesterday, and even then, the mediums were still pretty much finished, and they had about what five laps of nursing on their safety car.
My mediums were okay.
Oh, see, mine were gone.
I don't know what you were doing there. I know I was stuck behind traffic all day, but
yeah, I won, by the way. So yeah, that's why you want to go watch it. I won. Amazing.
Like,
don't watch France though. Don't watch me in France. I mean, you don't want that.
I recommend watching France. Just saying, you know, a certain commentator gets a podium.
Yeah, not a very good one though. What? Right, so still the safety car conditions at the minute. Bert Mylander running his way through the race circuit, not at very high speed, only 1 casualty so far in this Grand Prix, and that is why the safety car has been deployed. It was quite a slow accident, so I'm surprised that the wheel did come off. I'm surprised he never just got wing damage. It wasn't Jack Pearson, Jack Craig-esque from yesterday. Didn't lose his legs.
No, yeah, but with these cars, obviously, you catch it in the correct place, you can easily just knock a wheel off, like 5 miles an hour.
I do believe we should see the safety car coming in, and you can see on the left hand side the people that have stopped in this Grand Prix. That is Dexter Kong, Jacko, Wace, Smokey and Dom Smith. So they have all stopped, and I do believe it was Wace that Phil said went on to the... It was, mediums. Yes. The mediums. So he is in a good position here, Wace. And I think the people on the softs, they're going to have to get a bit of a move on when the safety car comes in, as it is coming in as well.
Yeah, safety car is coming in. It's like, yeah, I'm surprised. Nobody else has chosen to pit, but this will make for an interesting race because the guys who have pit have a lot of cars to make their way through. So this race isn't over yet, folks.
No, it is not, and the softs won't be too worn either. You can see Feely trying to get the jump on Hoffner already, but obviously cannot overtake until the safety car line.
Can't do that, Hoffner.
And he's got a penalty. He's given Feely a penalty from it. That might get put into the steward's office as well. That could well be getting removed. But here comes Marco now on Feely. He could try and get the jump on the Renault car, pulling to the right hand side and finding his way past Brandon Feely very well. But the Renault is still trying to hold it round that outside. That was such a long wait for the cars to come around. I thought they had hit each other. They've also got Jordan trying to go in there as well. Jordan, can he find his way past the Renault? I believe he has. He has. Where Ricciardo passed Lewis Hamilton, he has done it to the Renault of Brandon Feely, who's also under pressure now from Joe up the hill. And Feely losing places hand over fist. He's also got the Bossman Sean of Alfa Romeo. Yep, we'll go with that. In P6 behind Feely, so not the greatest restart for the Renault. Yellow flag in sector 2. I believe we have a Williams of Jack Hickey. That's the first time I've seen that name. Didn't realise he was here. But welcome back, Jack Hickey, and I recognise you from before. But not a good start for Feely. He's also got the Bossman Sean, the Alfa Romeo right up behind him, going defensive on Bossman Sean, but Sean not trying it yet, as Jordan also on the back of Marco further up. But we're going to stick with the Alfa Romeo for now. He's running a bit deep there. It's going to give Chris Johnson maybe a bit of a run, but Feely looking to find his way back past the Toro Rosso of Joe Sayer, but not the greatest restart for the Renault, Phil.
Oh, absolutely not. Definitely not helped out by Lee Hoffner. I don't know what he was doing. He just turned in on Feely, who, although he was alongside it, he's allowed to do that. Marco went off the grass there. I don't know what he's doing now. I was just about to give him a big shout out because he's done a decent job in qualifying. Now he's running as high as second, and he's holding his own very well here. So he's doing a great race, holding off Jordan at the moment. DRS will be active next time round, and Bossman Shaw still holding on to 6 ahead of Chris Johnson there as well.
Indeed, he is. A few different tyre strategies on the grid. A few drivers opting for the mediums from the get-go, so that'll explain why some cars didn't come in, but I can't think of why the soft runners didn't come in. They don't have a massive gap to the cars behind, but I think they could lose out massively here. Feely's losing the rear. That's going to give Bossman Shaw a bit of a run. Falling away a bit, these two, Dexter and Dexter had a podium in Spain, but that was the only real thing to note from him. His last race win was, I believe, Bahrain. It was round 4, so not good for him at all. Definitely losing a bit of pace as the season goes on. We have Baza now on the back of Michael Kenny. This should be an easy move for the Red Bull on the Williams. Even on equal performance, it looks like a piece of cake for the Red Bull, and he finds his way past the Williams. But I think Michael's trying to come back at him here. Not quite side by side. Or down to the swooping downhill left-hander. Michael having to settle behind Baza, so not what he would have wanted. Jordan dropping back a bit from Marco as well, so whether he made a mistake or not, but Marco, like you said, Phil, is having a very good race so far.
He's definitely holding his own. Just a quick note as well, obviously of the pit stop runners, effectively at the moment you could call them the race leaders once they fit in. It is Dexter in a Red Bull leading a group here with Colin Hoffner and Smokey J, so them three are right together behind Michael Kenny there. So coming through this tricky section, we've got a great helicopter shot on my view here, so
I've got it too, don't worry.
As we fall through the technical twisty section in sector 2 here. These three are really close.
McLaren off in the background. That was Jacko into the wall where Sergio Perez put it into the wall. I don't believe he quite rolled it, but the front wing has definitely come off that McLaren. I believe we'll see him into the bits. Jordan's come in to try and maybe do the undercut on Marco to maybe close that gap. So he is the first of the non-safety car pitters. Dexter making easy work of Michael Kenny. Be interesting to see if Kong can find his way past the Williams as well. He's got immense closing speed at the minute. He is thinking about it. It was sort of a half-hearted... very close to the Williams, but he's got the better exit somehow. Sauce must be definitely going off, and he finds his way past the Williams. So next would be Smokey J's in P12. His last win in Spain. Very dominant from Smokey, that Grand Prix in the second stint. I believe I have a Williams off somewhere. That will be Jack Hickey, but Kong now. It is Jack Hickey, indeed, yellow flag in the sector 1. So Jacko has pitted from that, but Kong now on the back of ILRT Dexter, trying to find his way past the Red Bull. But there's a massive train at the minute from third. Is that right?
It is Jose in third, yes.
Yes.
Behind them as well. Dom Smith's retired. Has he hit the wall?
Not quite sure. He might have. Yeah, safety car.
Oh wow! Oh, this is a chance. These top guys now pitting, so they won't lose too much time.
That's ruined Jordan.
It has. Oh, what a terrible bit of luck there.
Mike staying out up to second. Chris staying out as well. Dexter and Kong up to third and fourth, so they are your net P1 and net P2. So this is what magically for these guys.
Marco's jumped Lee Hoffner.
He has. Good spot. Marco has, yeah, he has jumped Lee Hoffner.
Marco is in net P3.
Yes, indeed. Marco having a stellar race at the minute in that Ferrari, which is something we don't get to see quite a lot for Marco, but definitely showing us up here in Hungary. Chris Johnson in the leading car from the Alfa Romeo of Mike. Those two yet to pit. It's then followed by Dexter, Kong. You got Marco, Lee, and then Sayer Sports, also known as Joe. You've also got Solanix, or now F1 Baza, Feely, the real big loser, down in that MP10. Smokey has remained in P11. I believe a Mark has gone off and is trying to let Joe through. They were very slow coming out of that chicane. Not quite sure if someone has made a mistake. Bossman Sean has lost a lot as well, but this does save Jacko, who made a mistake a couple laps ago. So this saving him. So 3 casualties so far from this Grand Prix of Dom Smith, Jack Hickey and Inverness Fan 94. But the safety car then are going to help, definitely going to help Waze' mediums.
Definitely, yes. So Mike and Chris Johnson, I have to say they must pit. Their race is pretty much ruined now. There's no real point in staying out there, but they might as well just pit and cut their losses and maybe have a chance to fight back to the points. But they both choose not to, so we're just cruising around on the safety car. So Dexter net P1 of the pit stops, and we've got Con Hoffner second, Marco, as we said, third, jumping Lee Hoffner in net P4, Jose runs them for a net P5. So second safety car, another like halfway through this race. Stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah, I do believe it caps at 2, so I don't believe we'll see any more VSCs, or I don't know if it's 2 each or if it just caps at 2 in the session. So I'm not sure if we'll see another VSC or safety car, so it will be a straight sprint, I believe. Jacko will catch the train, I think, 'cause he will no longer have the Delta, so he is now allowed to go pretty much full racing speed to catch up to the pack. Which is a bit weird because the safety car's out for a reason, so it's a bit weird you can go full racing speed to catch up.
No, I know. It is a bit weird, but that's how the game kind of works at the moment.
It's not the greatest safety car that Cody's probably could have implemented. Same with the VSC, you need to work on that a bit. Russia. So it is still Chris then, obviously leading this Grand Prix from Mike Noon, who will be getting a nosebleed up in second. I think maybe Mike is just happy to be up in second at this point. The season's not really going to plan. Having in the odd good race, but so far his season has been a bit of a disappointment, a bit of a Giovinazzi. Has a few good races, but the rest are sort of just a bit bleh. And the safety car is bleh. We'll go with that bleh. Chris Johnson then backing up the pack. Mike trying to overtake Chris, so we don't want to see what happened under the first safety car, but interesting to see if Mike can find his way past Chris. I don't believe they'll pit on this lap. I believe that is a bit stupid. But Mike definitely trying to get Dexter sitting back a bit, so maybe wanting these two to crash, but they're getting very close, these two. Chris has now bolted. I think he might have caught Mike sleeping, but we've got Kong now on the back of Dexter, and Marco trying to find his way past the championship leader of Kong. He's now got the slipstream from Dexter. Mike trying to make a move for the lead as well. Marco's got up the inside of the Red Bull as well, put the mark on the grass. Mike gets side by side with Chris. Don't know which one to pick here. Something's happened in the background. Not quite sure what has gone on there. We'll fill us in just a second. But the top two side by side on the run down and then back up the hill of Mike and Chris, who finds his way past. Marco has come out unscathed. We've got Jordan on the back of Kong. Will he try and find his way past that Mercedes there? I don't believe he will. Kong, I believe, just kept that within track limits. And Dexter is down at the back. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I believe Phil does.
Dexter came out of turn 1, got on the loud pedal a bit too ambitiously and spun into the wall. He has got massive front wing damage, both end plates gone, so that's his race pretty much over and done with. He'll just be riding around for pride. But the way this race is going, he might as well still go, because there could be more carnage here. He could still pick up a point.
You could indeed, and we've got 7th and 8th going at it. We've got 10th and 9th going at it of Smokey J's, finding his way past the what looks to be injured Red Bull. Bossman Sean trying to find his way past the Red Bull as well, but can't quite do it. But he might get the better exit to try round in here. I believe Baza has called it a day on that front wing and has pulled into the pit lane. But Feely now on the back of Joe, and again, no DRS yet. We'll see that on lap 13, I do believe. But then Brandon Feely then on the back of Joe, thinking about it. But thinking better off it, and probably for the best. Jordan has found his way past Kong Hoffner as well, so he's found his way past the mark. He's trying to go back up the inside of Jordan, very close. Lee Hoffner almost hitting both of them as well. So the two Mercs, just like in Spain, when they are tossed about a bit, they do make mistakes. They do make mistakes if they are tossed about.
They do indeed, although of course, got to be noted, Jordan is on the medium tyres, the quicker tyre than Hoffner, and they've only just gone on them as well, so they're nice and fresh here. So Jordan, in a very good spot
a net
here.
P2 at the minute.
Indeed, yes.
It is a net P2 behind Marco, currently a net P1. Now he doesn't need to rush this move on Chris, but this is Marco we're talking about. So do you think he'll rush, or do you think he'll be patient?
I think Marco. I think what he'll probably do is, if he can do it, he might as well go for it and make it clean. To put another car in between him, or Chris Johnson actually just dives into the pits there, so that solves that problem now. But now Marco does have to defend from Jordan, who will pick up a nice slipstream here. Probably won't get him into turn one, but
he's definitely got the toe. Anyway. He is gaining on this on the Ferrari. Marco goes defensive. Jordan just a little bit later on the brakes, but Marco controlled into turn one. The two Mercs have crashed.
Oh my goodness!
The two Mercs have hit each other. Kong and Lee Hoffner have come to blows, and I can hear the banging on the desk from Toto Wolff from here.
Oh, that's massive damage for Lee Hoffner as well.
He has. He's missing pretty much 90% of that front wing. Kong, I believe, has gotten away with some damage, so he is still... massive crash! I'm not... You can fill me in there in just a second. Kong is trying to find his way past the Alfa Romeo of Bossman Sean. Smokey is bouncing all over curbs. This is absolute chaos. What happened there, Phil?
God, I don't know, Mike's just hit Lee Hoffner as well. Lee Hoffner's now out of the race. I just quickly caught him. Mike was round, and Feely, I think, has run into Mike, who spun coming out of turn 4. Feely's got massive damage. This race is absolutely mental. As Smokey's tries to go around the outside of the race.
Oh, Sean and Kong! The Alfa Romeo's not giving us up on the mark, side by side. Kong goes off the circuit. Alfa Romeo versus Mercedes. I wish you could say that in real Formula 1. Oh, they're coming together. Kong! Oh! And this is going to give Wace a mega run on these two. Wace could throw himself onto the podium 3 wide into turn 1. Later on the brakes was the mark, but Wace into P2. Now Bossman Sean has the run on Kong. He's off to the grass!
Oh my goodness.
Does anyone actually want to finish on the podium? Normally it's does anyone want to win this race, but does anyone want to finish on the podium? I'm not sure if Kong has damage on that mark. He is getting a bit of understeer. I'm not quite sure if he does or not. I don't believe, even if he does, it might be slight. But this is a mental Grand Prix so far. Mike has finally come into the pit lane, and that was, I think, destined to happen after his incident. Kong, I believe, has a few penalties, so Racing Point really in the good boat at the minute, and Jordan up behind Marco. Jordan isn't an aggressive driver where Marco is, so maybe Marco might have the upper hand.
I don't want to be a sports, but I did see Marco picked up a 3-second penalty, so I'm aware Jordan doesn't have it. So at the moment, I do believe Jordan is a net P1. Whether he knows that is another question, though.
It depends how many warnings he has as well. But Marco going defensive. Jordan, I've noticed, never uses the slipstream. No, I don't quite understand his racing logic, to be honest with you. He never really turns up the battery either when he needs it. But Marco squeezing Jordan all the way to the right hand side off the circuit, really giving him the big squeeze. Chris Johnson sets up the fastest lap, but he is trying to go around the outside of Marco, and that would be a very good move. It's a very difficult move to pull off as well, but Marco holding on for now. Absolute chaos this Grand Prix. 4 casualties. Lee is the most recent one, I believe, collecting Mike Noon. Sorry, Mike Noon collecting him, whichever way you want to put it. But lap 14 out of 18, Phil, and 2 safety cars, and this has been absolute mental.
Absolutely, and Mike, by the way, had to do a drive-through penalty before replacing front wing, so in he comes again. Disaster race. Remember when I said about Dexter just might as well change the front wing, continue? He's up to 12th.
8 seconds behind Joe as well.
A point is still possible for just keeping on going.
A point is still possible. Smokey is prone to making mistakes, and I don't want to be mean to Joe's out. Top of the hill. So that promotes Dexter now into P11, and you can see the stricken Toro Rosso there. So yeah, you were right. I probably should have done that in France. But here comes Jordan then on Marco. Pulling to the left hand side is the Racing Point, finding his way past the Ferrari, but Marco very late on the brakes. He's going to push Jordan all the way. I believe here Marco isn't going to give this up easy. They're still side by side on the run down the hill. Now to the long swooping left hander. Jordan is rear dancing about a bit, but takes the lead from Marco, and Jordan now just has to keep it on the island. Maybe Wace, oh no, Wace is a bit too far back. It was a lapped car I was seeing in between these guys, and Feely has retired from this Grand Prix as well, but that doesn't affect Dexter at the minute. Some more casualties from this Grand Prix. Kong's picked up another penalty, unfortunately, so that's going to hamper his finishing position. Maybe he is all over the... Oh, they've come together! Kong and Bossman Sean have come together, and that puts Kong into P4, so the Mercs really having a mare at the minute. Not good for Mercedes at all in the constructors, but Racing Point, like I said before, fantastic.
Kong definitely now has front wing damage. The left end plate is now missing, so he'll be feeling that massively, especially on the hard tyres as well.
Bossman Sean still has it, so maybe a comeback drive from Bossman Sean to find his way back past that Merc. 1.3 seconds behind, so could easily do it. We've got Marco now with the DRS, but under 10% on the battery, so 2015 Honda engine in that then for Marco. But not the cleanest race we've seen, but the most exciting race so far this season.
Definitely entertaining. Not the cleanest, no. Two safety cars, a lot of carnage, questionable driving, but it's proven entertaining, put it that way. Who would have predicted this? Jordan first, Marco in second, and Race in third. 2 Racing Points on the podium. Con Hoffner now struggling to turn that thing into turn 2 there, and he's got Bossman Sean back on his tail, looking for revenge. There's a yellow flag out there somewhere.
Mike Noon at the top of the hill. You'll probably see a stricken Alfa Romeo in a second. There it is. So both the drivers having to invert their lines there, but Bossman Sean, if he was collected by the Merc, I don't think Bossman Sean's going to play nice. He's going to want to get his elbows out and get past that Mercedes. An impressive P4 from him, if he can get it as well. We also seen, you were just watching Smokey find his way past Baza for P9 as well, but Bossman Sean pushing this Merc around these corners. Now you don't really want to do that because the contact system on F1 isn't great, and it'll put Kong in the wall.
It will. He's having a look around the outside there. Not going to do it. I mean, he could just be patient and set him up for the DRS straight, which is coming up around this last corner now. So just concentrate, get a good run out here. Should get a better run. Con Hoffman's struggling to turn that thing in with the damaged front wing and the hard tyre. So here we go down the straight. Has Bossman Sean got his DRS open? I can't quite see it.
He does indeed.
He has, yes. He's looking round the outside. Hoffner is defending for all he's worth. He might as well. He's doing a Valtteri Bottas from 2018. Now Bossman Sean on the switchback, goes around the outside at turn 2. Can he do it? He's having a good look around that. It could be possible. He's been left room. That should be moved on. Hoffner's still trying to hang around the outside. That's dangerous. We've seen people go off there 1 or 2 times today and yesterday.
Bossman Sean made very good work at that, to be fair.
He did, yes. So
he was getting pushed left and right and still found his way past.
So, all things being equal, Bossman Sean should pull away from that now. We have Chris Johnson in the background there. On the soft side, he could catch him.
He could indeed, yeah, but he has only got really a lap and a lap and a quarter to catch the Merc, and it depends how worn those softs are. There's a lot of understeer in the Haas watching Chris as well, so maybe running less wings. We've also got Michael Kenny catching Smokey, or Smokey's found his way past Michael Kenny and Jack on. I just missed it. But Chris, I think he is catching the Merc, but whether he'll catch it in time, because a good P5 for Chris as well. Was in the title fight last year, but has sort of just lost it all this season.
Yeah, I think as well. I mean, Con Hoffman has been absolutely flying in this series this season. The rule of Denmark has come into TGP2 this year, I think.
The rule of Denmark has, and they're also crashing into each other. They might be winning races, but they're glued to each other. Chris has got that gap down to 1.9. Michael Kenny And Jacko squabbling for P8 and 9. Jacko very close to the back of that Williams. He's also got Baza, who's been on those softs for, I believe, quite a while. 7 laps on the soft compound off tyre. Jacko trying to find his way past Michael Kenny. An impressive. Oh, Baza's hit Jacko, and that puts the McLaren into the wall. Oh no, he's kept it out, but he's also got Dexter coming at some speed as well. So this could be Dexter's points to chance to really get it up there if there is penalties. Chris Johnson not quite close enough, but it will be Jordan, the first Englishman to win in TGP2 this season. Second is Marco. An impressive drive from the Ferrari. Waste will be chuffed to come home in third. Bossman Sean will be very happy with P5. He actually might get a podium here. He does indeed. So the Alfa Romeo thrown onto the podium. Kong, I don't believe he'll drop down to 6th. So not good. Chris beats him, so Chris up into P4. So Smokey only misses out by 1/10 of a second on Kong's penalties. Michael Kenny, an impressive 8th that he has. Baza on his end, on his tail towards the end there. Jacko will take that final point from Dexter. Unless he comes across the line. I don't believe Dexter got the final point.
No, I don't believe so.
No, he didn't. P11 for the Red Bull. So, a dramatic, a chaotic, an exciting, thrilling Grand Prix.
Absolutely. Who would have predicted this podium? So Jordan on the top step. What a fantastic drive. Probably the driver who kept it most out of. And Marco, I think, driver of the race there. That was an excellent drive by him. Kept it mostly out of trouble. A bit ambitious with the movement into turn 1 to take 2, but
it worked. He got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Risk versus reward. He definitely got the reward.
Most dramatic moment could be. Actually, no. Well, I'll let you do the rundown first, and we'll talk about that in the menus.
So your results for the Hungarian TGP2 race: Jordan, your winner here, followed by Marco in 2nd, Bossman Sean 3rd, Chris Johnson called his way back up to 4th, Wace in 5th, Kong Hoffner with his damaged front wing in 6th, Smokey J 7th, Michael Kenny 8th, Baza 9th, Jacko 10th, and Dexter, despite finishing outside the point, was your last runner. Quite a lot of retirements in that
Quite a
race.
few casualties, yeah. Quite a few casualties indeed. God, that's heartbreaking. Alistair hasn't even got a best lap time. It's just lines. He'll be wanting to make amends for that in France. I think he saved the club as well. So I think Dom's going to have a busy night tonight. It's not going to be quiet up in that steerage room. There's going to be a queue of unhappy drivers bickering outside Dom's office. But it is now time for the French qualifying and the French Grand Prix. But most dramatic moment, Phil. We have what? Lap 1. Top of the hill, Smokey taking out the Renault. We have the two Mercs crashing into each other. We have Mike hitting Dom in qualifying. Mike taking out a Merc, Lee Hoffner.
Mike taking out Feely effectively.
Yeah, Mike taking out Feely as well.
Mike taking out Lee Hoffner.
Yeah. We're starting to see a theme here. Starting to see a theme here indeed, but excuse me. Most dramatic moment of that Grand Prix, probably the Mercs hitting each other. Two championship contenders. That's
got to be the most dramatic moment. Absolutely,
it has to be. I don't think. I think the people who didn't finish. I think Lee Hoffner. I think he'd be a bit disappointed he couldn't really reel in the likes of Alistair, who didn't score, Jordan, who won, Dexter, who didn't score, Smokey didn't score highly, Kong didn't score highly either. So that's a missed opportunity for him. Alistair, currently 5th in the Drivers' Championship, I think he'll be a bit disappointed as well, not being able to close in, because he didn't score any points, but he could have maybe been higher than the likes of Smokey, etc. So he'll be disappointed with that. Jordan will be delighted. He overtakes Dexter in the Drivers' Championship. I do believe he will stay just behind Smokey. But yeah, the two Mercs hitting each other is it's quite yeah. Total Wolf will not be happy with that one.
No, if you are watching, get involved in the chat. We'll respond to the comments as we go through the next qualifying section.
That means you, John. We know you're watching. But France, very different to Hungary, and maybe I think the one thing these two tracks have in common are the track limits being exceptionally strict. Like I know it's on strict corner cutting, but France and Hungary are bad for it.
I didn't find Hungary too bad, Pierce.
Well, see, I never picked up a penalty, but turn 1 and 2 are dodgy.
Here, turn 1 and 2
Yeah.
are awful.
Yeah.
I mean, just this track's kind of mostly awful, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, see, I like this circuit. It's just too easy to overtake. It's a fun track to do. It promotes overtaking a bit too much.
I think I preferred the old layout with gravel everywhere.
Yeah.
But that's going back to the time before you were born, though, so you won't even know what that looks like.
I can't even remember when that was. I don't even know what year. Because I know
1990.
Oh fucking hell! I wasn't even thought about.
Up to the year 2000, actually, I think that layout was still in existence.
I wasn't even thought about. I knew they used to race here before, but I didn't know there was gravel.
Well, kind of like Laguna Seca sand, effectively.
Oh. Just about the corkscrew. Imagine the corkscrew in a Formula 1 car.
That's amazing. Still, I think that gave the old circuit character compared to this one. This is just a massive car park.
I thought the lobby glitched out, but we, I believe, are getting in for qualifying. I think, because I'm just seeing black screen.
Yeah, so am I at the moment. We shall wait and see. It's a dry qualifying, we at least know that.
Yeah, you knew that before, mate. So yeah, dry qualifying session for France. I'm not quite sure of it as well. I'll go ask the Renault driver back in a minute.
No worries. As qualifying now begins here, all the drivers will be popping their setups on now. So we just wait for the first car to come out on track to attack the circuit in anger here. I can see the Mercedes mechanics moving from this camera shot here. There'll be Lee Hoffner going out. There's a Renault going out there as well, that looks at it, and there's Williams.
I have returned.
And what is the news?
We have a scorching start, and then it gets a bit cloudy, but it stays dry.
Fair enough.
Exciting times, isn't it?
The car's just heading out on track now.
Yeah, Jordan, the first hard compound off tyre for him. Always seems to do that in the early stages of qualifying. Maybe just, I think if he is going to go hard, maybe that's just covering a safety car. Because the softs don't last an awful long time around here. They're not great.
Indeed, they're not. No.
I'd rather have a set of mediums than softs, to be honest.
I think the strategy should just be mediums or softs and mediums.
So you get the odd runner that puts the hards on. Jordan. With a bogging helmet.
I think for a 25% race, though, there's no need for the hard tyres, unfortunately. I mean, there might be a way Cody's can work it into the next game where you'd have to use the hard tyre if you hit lap 1.
Yeah. I just think that would just ruin the game, though.
I think it would do.
I don't like using hard tyres. The only time I liked using the hard tyres was when they were bright blue and they were at Silverstone. For some reason, I had like mega grip on them. Plus, it looked cool having bright blue tyres.
I did quite like the look of them, yes.
Yeah, having bright blue tyres on like a Renault looked a bit weird, but
it looks like Jordan will be the first one to set a lap time.
he will be indeed. He is the first person. Just not upshifting to 8th gear. Okay, that was not nice on my ears. Doesn't invalidate it though. That is definitely the entry and exit into turn 2 are definitely the worst parts. You want to compromise a bit of turn 1 though. You don't want to take turn 1 too quick. You just want to compromise that and have the whole run for turn 2. Have a Haas off there as well.
Yeah, indeed. You do have to sacrifice your corner entry speed into turn 1 to nearly exit of turn 2. You've got a fairly long run into the next braking point.
Yeah, you want to carry as much speed on the exit as possible. You don't want to be fighting the car. So currently still watching Jordan with 14 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the second qualifying session this evening for the circuit. Paul Ricard. One thing I do not like about the circuit is the weird blue lines and the red lines. It's not nice to look at.
Bring back the sand and the gravel, I say.
Just bring back good F1 circuits. I mean, you could just do that.
Go back to Turkey?
Oh yes, definitely. The long left-hander and then the left-right going onto the straight. Oh. Here comes Jordan.
Turkey or Korea?
Turkey.
You prefer Turkey?
Korea has a good first sector, and in the second sector there's no overtaking. It's pointless.
There is no overtaking, but the second sector as a driving experience is just fantastic.
I also has validated his lap times, there's no point watching that, so it's Smokey. Go with Jack Hickey. Why not? In the Williams. Lee, 130.7 from him, so the Mercs again setting the early pace at the minute. I'm surprised they weren't giving each other a tow. I'd rather a tow around here than Hungary, to be honest.
Absolutely, yeah. A tow around here would be
a lot of people haven't validated their lap times. We'll go with Dom for his run. That was a racing point getting out of the way, possibly Jordan on his return to the pit lane, but Dom Smith then using automatic ERS as well, I heard. Can't be bothered fiddling with it during the Grand Prix, so definitely not going to have a lot of power at some points during this Grand Prix. With a yellow flag for turn 1 and 2, I believe it was the Toro Rosso, off by the slow moving icon.
Probably why Dom's single then, if he doesn't like fiddling. Sorry ladies.
That does, I think he's probably useless at it as well. Probably doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, it's been nearly 17 months since something magical happened for Dom Smith.
Change the subject very quickly.
But here we go. It's also up to the line, goes second with a 132.3, but again, still a long way off Lee Hoffner. But Dom will be happy to put his car into second.
Can't wait for us two to be fired next week.
That is coming, I believe. Did Jordan just get in the way of an Alfa Romeo? Oh no, it's Bossman Sean on and out lap, so he didn't get in the way. And I seen the chat light up, and I was getting ready to see something there, Phil. But no, it's not about us, so that's fine.
Oh.
But
who was it in the chat?
Matthew. Or Matt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yellow flag sector 1 and 2, so a few cars squabbling for positions. I believe the Renault Alster is back out there. He tried to go for a second run on those softs and validated it again, so struggling on those medium compound tyre, not softs. Feely on an out lap at the minute. Chris Johnson is on an in lap. Michael Kenny on an in lap. A lot of drivers on either on out or in lap. Kong Hoffner 130.3. He is looking mighty quick again in that Merc. Some drivers may be thinking, what is the point? You do a lap time and then someone just comes along and absolutely bats it out the field. But we're currently watching Bazin on his qualifying lap time with 11 minutes 17 seconds remaining in the session. A long swooping right hander where a tyre blew up for Lance Stroll, I believe that's what it was. He's also got McLaren ahead of him. That will be Dom Smith. I don't think he'll get in the way, but it's still a bit distracting. I see the Red Bull getting a lot of understeer through there, maybe just distracted by the McLaren ahead, or took too much speed in. Jack Hickey has retired from the session as well, but it'll be interesting to see where Baza can go. Losing pace as the season goes on, unfortunately for him. Was up there at the start of the season, but just hasn't been able to transform that into anything more. Up to the line, he goes P8 with a 133.5, currently slower than Angel versus Death, or formerly known as Michael Kenny. Kong on his in lap then. Yeah, I think he's given Bossman Sean a bit of a tow here. The Bossman Sean, it wasn't Bossman Sean, it'd be Mike on an out lap.
I think, yeah, because Mike just come out of the pits, yeah, so he was isn't on a lap.
Yeah. So we'll go with Mike for the next run, and I'll put a bit of pressure on Phil. I'll get Phil to take us through a lap off the Paul Ricard circuit with Mike.
Oh well, thank you, Mike. Don't bottle it. If you do, it won't be too bad. As he squares up the last corner to try and carry as much speed as he can onto the start finish straight. Opens up DRS. Should be in full ERS mode as well. Now head into turn 1. Pick your braking point nice and early. It turned in, scrub at full speed. Swings it into turn 2. Oh, and that scruffy start to the lap. He'll continue on anyway. He might as well just get a lap time on the boards. So now coming into this tight technical part at the top of the circuit. Now we need to carry as much speed as you can going onto the first long straight. Again, ERS now must be in maximum mode. DRS available up down this straight. Now again, just a long wait. Pick your braking point. Brake markers on your right hand side for the drivers. He's done that quite nicely there. Hooks the curb on the right hand side. Now again, carry as much speed as you can down the second part of the straight. No DRS to help you out, so ERS, you must use the full extent of your ERS and save a little bit for the last part of the lap. But this is crucial to carry as much speed as you can. That's a flat out corner, and this is a double apex corner. You must pick the brake point again through the middle. Mike's losing the rear end there. It's not a good lap here. We come towards the end of the lap. He's ran wide again. I don't know if he'll finish this lap or call it a day, Mike. It looks like he is going to finish it as we now head to the last corner. Second gear this should be. 90-degree right. Squirms it coming out as he puts the power on. Opens DRS. Runs to the line. Where will this put Mike? 7th place.
Alistair then, a surprise runner yet to do a lap. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. He might be getting... No, that car, the Alfa Romeo Bossman Sean, is just too far ahead for a bit of the tow, but he might indeed have a bit of traffic on this lap, but he is the only really challenger for pole yet to set a lap. We're still waiting for Jackal to do one, and Jack Hickey has retired from the session, so he won't be setting one in the next 7 minutes. But also running a bit wide there, it's going to compromise a bit of speed. But so far it's a cleanish lap from what we have seen of it. Now if you can keep the car tucked in here, there is a bit of like, I don't know, it's like a rail sort of thing you can put the wheel into to try and help you around that final corner. Where can he put that Renault? It's third with a 130.9, so still a bit to go for the Renault driver. He's got waste coming out of the pit lane. That's a very dodgy pit exit. Lee Hoffner goes even quicker at 130.3, so 6 tenths off. The Mercs is the closest competitor in that Renault. Brandon, oh, that pit lane sound is awful. Oh, I just switched to someone in the pit lane and it was ringing at me. Joe Sayer then finishing a lap time now. Where can he put this Toro Rosso? Can he improve on P13? P7 at 132.0, so you can see the track evolution starting to pick itself up now. Michael Kenny also 5 tenths up on this lap time as well, so he'll be looking to improve. I'm not sure if 5 tenths is enough to gain on his current position, but obviously there's still a bit of the lap to go, so could still find some more time. That Rocket Williams Racing is not a nice livery. Definitely prefer this year's, whether we get to actually see it on a track or not.
I like this livery.
No, it's horrible. It's disgusting.
All horrible.
Yeah, but that's the way it is, isn't it? There comes Michael Kenny on Angel versus Death and goes to P13 with a 132.5, putting himself ahead of Mick Schumacher and Jacko. So the two Mercs, I believe, are on in-laps. Maybe I'm not sure if Kong is on an outlap or an in-lap here. He's got a full battery, but the timer also says he's going, and I can't remember if that says. I can't remember if it does that if you're on an in or an outlap. But Joe Sayer then definitely coming in this time around. Chris, I believe, is on a quick lap in the Haas, so 132.0 for him so far. Not too far off Bossman Sean. Not too far. Who's not too far off Joe either. But here comes Chris. He's gonna have the DRS up to the line, putting it into hot. You can get so much if you have some battery left for that final corner. Stays 7th with a 131.8, so it does improve on his current lap time. Jordan, I believe, is on a quick lap as well. No, he's just backed out of it. Dom Smith is headed out for an outlap, so this will probably be Dom's last run in the session. And we've also got Baza on a lap as well, and Kong, yeah.
Yeah, Kong Hoffner, I think, has
started again.
Yeah, took either a lap to one or he messed up. So he's going again.
Indeed he might have made a mistake somewhere, but he is going again, and just under a tenth behind his brother of Lee Hoffner, also starting on the front row. Be interesting if they do what they did in Hungary off the start. I mean,
I think
could be incredible.
Had a good word with them.
We could see multi 21, but down at Mercedes instead of Red Bull. But Kong, they're definitely on the pace this season, dominating TGP2 in the championship. Not so much in the recent weeks, as competitors have started to reel him in a bit, and he's 3 tenths up on this lap time, so he is on the brink of coming into the 129s, which is TGP1 territory.
Indeed it is, yes. Kong Hoffner will probably be comfortably in the midfield in TGP1 territory. He's about to approach stone traffic, which I don't think should get in his way, hopefully. But, 2
Haas's. They're both pitted.
Extremely solid lap. He just needs to keep it all nice and tidy now. Hit the apex, pick up the power nice and smooth, open DRS, drive to the line. What's this going to be?
Just outside the 29s, but did find 3 tenths off a second to put himself ahead of Lee, who is out on circuit for his final run, along with third place Alistair. Feely has just come in, so he should get another run. Smokey is queuing with his Haas teammate, so not good down at Haas. Baza then completed his lap time and went P7 with a 131.8. So the 2 Red Bulls maybe happy with 6th and 7th after the recent weeks they've been having off the pace, but Dom Smith then coming to the end of his lap time team derating. That'll be the automatic ERS, so he's already down on power and already losing power to his competitors. Can he squeeze inside the top 10? He can. P9 with a 131.9. Bit of a gap to Joe. It's not massive, but it's about a tenth and a half for these two. Joe is just gearing up to do another lap. Where is Lee? He's still in that last set. He is behind Alistair as well, so maybe trying to get the toe from the Renault driver. Maybe hopefully Alistair clocks on and notes that there's a championship rival behind him trying to get a bit of slipstream. It's a busy track though, so I think he might just want to get on with his lap. But Kong then, I do believe, will be coming in this time around. I don't see him doing anything more on those softs. He has done 2 laps on them, and if he's going to start the race on them, that's not great. I don't see him going again. Indeed not. So that's the end of Kong's qualifying session. So Alistair then, I think, will be the first car off the challengers to Kong to start and finish a lap time. Through turns 1 and 2, that Renault was looking pretty planted. I don't believe the mark is close enough for it, so but Alistair then can't get anywhere near those Mercedes. Currently 6 tenths off second, 9 tenths off pole position, but he did it in Singapore. Maybe can he do it in France? He's got Marco ahead of him as well, so maybe a bit of a toe from the Renault, from the Ferrari even.
According to my dash, he did set a purple sector 1. I don't know if that's actually accurate, but
hopefully Marco gets out of the way here. Indeed he does, and giving Alistair a bit of a toe as well. Definitely helping the Renault. Definitely helping him indeed. I know he was improving, but I don't know if he was purple or not. Dom has called it a day in qualifying. He's also got his teammate ahead of him, of Brandon Feely, who is on an outlap at the minute. So he should get out of the way of his teammate as well if he does catch. But that Renault so far, very clean lap from Alistair. His game is qualifying. He lacks a bit of race pace, but doesn't lack qualifying pace. Kong has retired, so that is definitely the end of his qualifying session. But he's also got Lee as well on a lap, which we need to keep an eye on after this. But here comes the Renault. Can he get anywhere near pole position? I'd be surprised if he does. Clipping that curb on the right hand side, but now it's a drag to the line. Bit of a slipstream from his teammate. At 130.5, so can't challenge pole. Here comes Lee. He's, I think, 3 tenths up on his lap time. At 130.1, so extends the gap. So I'm not quite sure who's next. It'll be Smokey on an outlap. Jordan has gone 4th, so now we'll go with Brandon Feely, who's invalidated his lap time. So that's the end of his qualifying session. Smokey then. It says he's on an outlap. I don't think he is though, because he's just crossed the start-finish line.
Yeah, I think he should be on a flying lap now.
Yeah, so we'll go with him. He should be on a qualifying. We'll find out if he gets. It's not ended his qualifying session, so I believe he is on a lap at the minute. No idea what sector times he's doing, because it just says outlap for me. Joe getting in a bit of a way there, but I think that was the AI and not Joe himself. A bit of traffic down the straight with the two Renaults and the mark as well of Lee Hoffner. So all them getting out of the way of Smokey J's. Can he throw his hat into the mix? Mick Schumacher, I'm not quite sure, is on a lap. If you could just check that for me, Phil.
I shall do. He should be, I think. Yes, he is on a lap.
Currently got the Racing Point lined up as Chuff. Then that will be the Racing Point of maybe Jordan.
It will be for second lap.
Jordan might be, and he will be picking up a tow from Mark, but maybe just getting blocked at this rate. But keep an eye on them as we keep an eye on Smokey. Alistair then returning from the session, so he is not doing anything else in this qualifying session. Marco has gone 11th. Jordan stays 4th, but it'll be interesting to see where Smokey can go in the Haas. A 130.6, so he goes 4th. 10th behind the Renault, and only just ahead of ILRT Dexter, who's gone 5th as well. Jacko has validated his lap time, so next will be Baza, and that should be the end of qualifying. Baza jumps Jacko and goes 9th with a 131.3, 3 tenths behind the Alfa Romeo of Bossman Sean. So just waiting on Jacko and Lee Hoffner then to call it, and we shall be, well, just waiting now on Lee Hoffner, and we shall be getting ready for the French Grand Prix to Merc 1-2. So both of them on the pace in France and have a bit of a margin to the rest of the field.
Indeed they do, but qualifying is one thing, racing is another. There's different driving styles, different race paces effectively. So you grid then for the French Grand Prix in TGP2. Mercedes 1-2, Kong Hoffner on pole position by less than a tenth from teammate Lee Hoffner in second. Alistair in third, nearly half a second back. Then Smokey J's in fourth. ILRT Dexter in fifth for Red Bull. Jordan in sixth, your race winner from Hungary. Feely in seventh, Bossman Sean eighth. Baza in 9th, Jacko round out the top 10, and you have Marco in P11, free choice of tyre if he so wishes. Chris Charles in 12th, Dom Smith 13th, Jose 14th, Mike in 15th, Michael Kenny 16th, Wace 17th, and Jack Hickey the last of the runners.
He will be last of the runners, having retired from qualifying. Not sure if it was through choice or if he put it into a wall, because I know Roy put it into a wall on an in-lap. If Roy is watching this in France, it was a wet qualifying for TGP1 and Roy put it into a wall on an in-lap.
Imagine having him as your teammate.
I know. I mean, could be worse. Not gonna name names, but it could be worse.
Ginger Andy, we celebrate you. You're doing a good job, son.
Ginger Andy got the podium as well in Hungary. I was meant to share the podium with him. It was a good egg. Snapchat from Dom Smith, oh no. This can't be good.
How the mighty have fallen. How does that man get a podium in dirt? I do not know. He wasn't
no idea. Oh, I know. Here we go then, the lights are coming on. It's 5 red lights for the French Grand Prix in TGP2. One mark has not gone away at all, and that was Lee, who's going to be constantly dropping back. It's a dreamland for the Renault. He's moved himself into second, Smokey up into third, but all clean through turns 1 and 2, I believe. We might have a car spinning off in the back and a bit of debris. I think that's a cone. A few cars dancing for position. Alistair trying to go up the inside of Kong, who shut the door on him. Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon style. I also think you better have going up the inside there of Smokey. I don't think I also got any damage from that. It was quite a slow incident. There's also Bossman Sean getting past Lee, so not a start he would have wanted at all, but can also find his way back past that Haas of Smokey, who isn't gaining at the minute on the mark. So maybe Alistair might think about it into here, but he's got to be careful. It is Smokey. Oh, Kong losing the rear end there. That could have been disastrous. It's a Red Bull. Lee Hoffner now. And Bossman Sean's losing the rear. That's going to allow Kong back through, and Dexter, who's got a rung. So Hoffner has just gained a spot and might just lose one. Red Bull and Merck, see the train of cars in the background. Everyone's still squabbling for position in the early stages of this Grand Prix, and Lee just holding on for P4 at the minute, but Kong still down. I believe Marco is out as well. Marco is out as well. Not quite sure what happened there. We'll get Phil to fill us in just a second, but I think everything is now starting to calm down, and safety car indeed.
So yeah, Marco tried to go down the inside of the flat out right hand. I can't remember who it was, and he just clips the car, and generally the car on the inside does go for the spin. A maximum speed, he did it right, and planted it into the wall.
I missed that. I totally didn't just run through into my margin to tell him what tyres to pick.
You're supposed to be impartial.
I missed that. Well, he is only a wall away. Lee Hoffner stayed out as well, along with Bazza. So we'll get the tyre graphic. We'll get the pit stop graphic up then, so you can see who has pitted. Alistair has jumped Smokey in the stops as well, so he's back up into a net P2, and he's actually put Bossman and Sean in between them as well. But Mike's staying out again. Now this is the trouble of starting on the medium compound, Phil, because the safety car comes out quite a lot now.
It does, yes. The TGP2 boys taking a page out of TGP1 and bringing the safety car on the first lap now. I think the roles were reversed this week. TGP1 were fairly good this week. Safety cars, they were involved, but not on lap 1 for a change. They made a nice change.
The safety cars actually helped me as well.
It definitely has there. So only 5 drivers choosing not to pit there.
Indeed, Mike, Chris, Jacko, Bazza and Lee Hoffner is the surprise one. Maybe trying to get that clean air on softs that aren't too warm because of the safety car. Maybe just trying to pull away from these guys while everyone behind them has to fight and squabble. Because Mike's in there, and Mike doesn't care if he hasn't pitted.
I mean, Mike's got a shining reputation after the last race. He was unfortunately involved in many incidents. So he's the last of the non-pitters. So the leading pit runner is Con Hoffner, who will come up against Mike first and foremost. And but Con Hoffner, interestingly, on the hard tyres, Alistair, through no help from his brother, who happens to be in the commentary box as well, picked the medium tyres.
I didn't tell him. I just hinted. I hinted.
There was a live camera feed. I've never seen Aidan run so fast into the other room.
I burst through the door, didn't even stick my head, I just opened it, went mediums, closed the door, ran back to the mic. I've done that a few times while he's been in TGP2.
Impartial commentary here in TGP2 top line service here.
Yeah, totally not biased. I'm not like Martin Tyler. I'm not biased. I don't scream for a Man United goal and then go yay when Liverpool score. I'm not biased. I want Mike to win though. I think if Mike was up in P1 and he had the whole field chasing him down, I think I'd be biased then, because I want Mike to win races again.
Let's be honest, hell would have to freeze over for Mike to be winning.
I remember F1 2014, my first ever year in TGP2. I was in the Red Bull, and this Noonie guy came out of nowhere and started beating me, and didn't like it. Wasn't a big fan of it, to be honest. And then obviously won a race yesterday, and one is only 5th because he hasn't pitted yet. So I think the sharp pain was definitely worth for the long game.
2014, you were still hadn't hit puberty then, had you?
No, but you were still in your 50s then. Times have changed, didn't they? I think the safety car should be coming in this lap. I don't believe it will stay out until lap 4. What lap did it come out? Lap 2?
Lap 1.
Well, lap 1, yeah, definitely be in this time.
Definitely lap 2, yeah. Lap 1.
Yeah, definitely coming in this time around. So what we'll do, we're currently looking at everyone's tyres. So you can see there, you've got Kong, Bazza, Jacko yet to make a pit stop on the softs. You've then got Chris, who's yet to make a pit stop on the mediums, along with Mike Noon, or Noonie38. You've then got Kong, who has made a pit stop and is your net race leader on the hard compound. You then have Alistair behind them on the medium, and then Bossman Sean, who managed to put himself ahead of the Haas of Smokey. He's opted for the hards as well, so maybe Alistair hoping that Bossman Sean can do a bit of a job for him, but it's now up to Lee to back up the pack. And you don't want to go too slow, because you know, you don't want cars hitting each other because the penalty system is a bit dodgy. But you don't want to go too fast because when you gun it, you want the game to allow you to gun it.
Indeed, yeah. You can, on this though, you can keep an eye on the safety car. But Lee Hoffner isn't letting the safety car really disappear on down the road. So, interesting tactic here. We'll see when he puts the hammer down, I would imagine, coming out of the final corner. So, here we go then. Restart of the race as we're about to start lap 4.
We are back racing indeed, and I believe that was a slow-moving Haas who's now under pressure from Mike on the run down into the turn one, but he's also got the slipstream from Jacko ahead. Will Mike go for the move here on Chris Johnson, thinking better off it, but where is Kong? Where are the chasing cars? Where are the net race leaders? Currently behind these three, all squabbling for position. Mike side by side with Chris now. He's going to go up the inside. That Alfa Romeo making easy work of the Haas of Chris Johnson. Kong will look to follow suit as along with the Renault as well as a McLaren off. That's allowed Mike into the podium position as well, but now it is just a massive drag race for all these cars. It's Jacko fighting Mike, who's then got Chris behind him as well. He's got Kong for company as well. I'm not quite sure where to go. They're all slipstreaming each other, but here comes Jacko on Mike for P3. There's also cars squabbling in the back. You see Mike holding off Jacko. Also trying to go around the outside of Kong. Switches to the inside, can't quite make it move on the mark. He's been pushed off the race circuit. How has he managed to keep that Renault facing the right way? Also will not be happy with Kong there. Kong really getting his elbows out, and maybe Phil a bit too much, but Jacko and Mike still side by side, but a contact between them is going to push Jacko off. Indeed, Chris has followed suit of them as well. They've got to be careful rejoining. Jacko picking up a penalty. Kong finding his way past. Alston needs to make quick work of this to stick with Kong. Indeed he does. Easy work for him. Smokey, again, he'll want to make easy work of him as well, and has. He's also on the medium compound of tyre. But Alistair then, not really where he wanted to be. He's in a sandwich of two very aggressive drivers.
He almost joined his brother in that wall down that back straight.
He did indeed, yeah.
Under attack here from Smokey J's coming into turn 1. Can Smokey outbrake him? Coming into turn 1, not quite.
Smokey thinking better off it, which is something rarely see, to be honest. Sorry, Smokey. But Kong there, not really catching Chris at the rate of knots I would have thought until that braking zone. Flew in on the Haas that time around, but up behind Chris now. Can he find a way past the Haas? He's also got Alistair for company as well, so Kong having to pass cars but also keep an eye on in his mirrors. Now I'm getting a flashback here. This is not good, but here comes Kong then on Chris. Can't even way past that Haas driver, last year's championship contender. No, Chris is making this difficult, and Alistair not want to get too close to Kong. He's not want to get shoved off the race circuit. He never scored any points in Hungary, so I think he'll be happy just getting something in this Grand Prix. But he has to watch out for Smokey as well. Lee Hoffner yet to come into the pits and definitely getting a gap with all these guys fighting. But Kong and Chris then still battling away for what is fourth. But Kong is really your net race leader, and this is really helping Lee Hoffner get the gap that he needs, so maybe the fight back won't be so bad, especially on the fresh tyres as well. See, Kong really...
Aiden, is the pit lane speed limit is 37 miles an hour. It's far too slow.
It is as well, 37 miles an hour. You see Alistair then got a bit of battery on Kong, so Kong really trying to get past that Haas. Alistair's got to put exit now. That allows Smokey now to pull to the right hand side, but I think Smokey is running that little bit less, a little bit more sorry, front wing, and always collecting the back of that Renault. That's going to compromise his whole turn 1 and 2, so not good for him. But Kong still can't pass Chris, so those hards really not doing him any good at the minute.
No, it's not, as we get another excellent helicopter shot there.
He's actually picked up a penalty as well.
Oh yes, he has. 3-second time penalty.
That changes the game.
This is part of the problem here, though, with so much runoff. Strict corner cutting, as rightly it should be, but drivers do tend to take tendencies to use all the track and a bit more.
They do indeed. Oh, that is a Haas skating off.
Smokey.
It was Smokey indeed. A Haas. I think it was avoiding action there from Smokey. He's under the pressure now from Dex, but I have to keep an eye on Kong, see if he can find a way past that Haas, because it's really compromising him at the minute. Also maybe just sitting waiting. He knows Smokey's not exactly in his diffuser at the minute, so he can maybe just take a little bit longer to see what happens between these guys. I believe we'll see the Merkin this time around, and he's not. Lee Hoffner really extending those soft compounds of tire and maybe just compromising himself at this rate. I believe that is Baza coming into the pit lane. Yes, it is Baza from second, but also really struggling on the exit, and Smokey's already on the back of these guys, so Smokey has the pace at the minute. I think it just shows how much these guys are being held up by Chris Johnson, who's now catching Mike Noon. Definitely interesting to see.
They're not being held up that much. I mean, Kong Hoffman's not really troubled Chris, so the pace from Chris Johnson and Mike Noon so far is reasonable. There's a few people slightly cutting the inside the corner there. That'll be a few warnings given out from the stewards.
Indeed there shall be, but the DRS now is open on the back of Chris, which will help him defend from Kong. As you can see, he's trying to use all of his battery. These two came to blow in Singapore. Getting very close. Alistair missing his braking zone enough and did really duck out of it. That's going to make him vulnerable now to Smokey. So not what he would have wanted there. Alistair holding on to the inside line, so going defensive. He hasn't got the slipstream though that Smokey has at the minute from Kong Hoffner. Alistair has the inside, not letting that Renault drift off too wide. He doesn't want to come into blows with Smokey, and he has lost the position to the Haas, but he is going to throw that Renault back up the inside, putting the power down nice and early and forcing the Haas driver off the circuit. But Smokey is going to come back at him, and that was
another.
Oh! Brandon Feely has now collected him, and I was on board with Smokey. That was terrifying. Mike Noon has come in.
Once again collects a car facing the wrong way. His luck is terrible tonight. As Lee Hoffner is in the pits, by the way.
Indeed he is. Lee has come in, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in all this, because these drivers don't care where you are or who you are at the minute. They're willing to fight for position, and Kong trying to find his way past Chris, but can't quite do it at the minute. Alistair, I think, is just sitting back waiting for an accident to happen, because Kong has made a few mistakes in the latter races, and there's one almost rear-ending the back of the Haas. So it'll be interesting to see what Kong can do at the minute, because at the minute he's not got many answers. Chris is throwing him questions, but Kong hasn't got anything to give.
He hasn't, no, but DRS down the straight. Chris hasn't got a DRS defence this time, so he has moved to cover the inside line. Here comes Hoffner around the outside. Can he do it? Slightly turning in on Chris there, kind of forcing Chris Johnson's hand there, but he's made the move.
Yeah, Chris I think hopefully will come back at him. Hopefully Chris doesn't give this up too easy. I like to see a good fight. He's turning off the battery, so I don't believe Chris is wanting to really play games with Kong. Losing the rear a bit, that's going to give Alistair now a bit of a run on him. Thinking better off it. Also quite a narrow line through there, so just trying to stay with these guys at the minute. He'll be looking to pass Chris as quick as he possibly can. Chris getting very close there to the back of Kong. Maybe Alistair has been on the phone to Jeff and asking if Kong has a few penalties, because you can't ask Jeff for that information, he will give you it, so not something I've given.
Now dives into the pits. Lee Hoffner, by the way, he did come out of the pits in 11th place. He will move back into the points with Chris Johnson pitting in.
He will, yeah, he should come back into the points, but now we have a straight fight for the lead and the win of this Grand Prix. A driver who never scored points in Hungary, and a driver who didn't score very many in Hungary. We've also got Dexter as well on the back of these guys, so he hasn't really dropped back on his hearts, and having the clean air has managed to maintain the gap. But now these guys have a bit now these guys don't have Chris in front of them. You see the dirty air from that Mercedes coming off and affecting the Renault's front end, just washing away. I think as long as Alistair stays within the DRS, he should beat Kong, as long as he doesn't get a penalty. Not had the race wins that he had.
Jack Hickey and Bossman Sean side by side down the straight. I think Jack Hickey has made that move.
He has indeed.
He definitely has.
Good move from him, but Bossman Sean, I believe, is going to come back at him. Lee Hoffman's found his way past Michael Kenny, but Bossman Sean then on Jack Hickey, who's okay. I thought it wasn't upshifting there, but it was just the spectate glitch. I feel he's picked up a 3-second time, but Bossman Sean hasn't quite got the straight line speed to answer Jack Hickey's overtake.
Just remind you, Jack Hickey started dead last He's off into P4, so it's an excellent drive so far from him.
Excellent drive from him indeed. He'll be happy with that so far. Dexter then has dropped back a bit from the front too, so nobody would have wanted, maybe falling into the hands of Jack Hickey and Bossman Sean. If these guys do have the pace, we've got Dom Smith then catching Joe Sayer. These two used to fight for race wins. They're currently fighting for 7th at the minute, so definitely not where they would have wanted to be. Lee Hoffner will be catching these guys as well, especially on the fresh tyres, and currently setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as well. So Dom will have his mirrors full off a Mercedes, and Dom will probably just let the Merc go. He's not going to fight too hard. And Nooney's setting the first lap with a 133.5, so Mike wanting that point away from the Merc, and also, and now Feely sets it with a 132.9, so the quickest lap time we've had so far. Also with the DRS, I don't quite think he's close enough this time. And you see he's not really turning up the battery. He knows he's not close enough. He knows he doesn't need to waste it at the minute. He's in no rush. Bossman Sean just hasn't got the straight line speed on Jack Hickey. As you can see that even with the DRS not really making the gains he would have wanted. Now here comes Lee Hoffner on Dom. I don't think there is enough laps left, Phil, for Lee to really get on the podium.
I don't think so.
Oh, almost losing it.
Sideways moment there. He should, at this pace, I think, pick off Dom and Joe though. I think Jordan is probably a bit too far away from him, but he'll give it a go. Jordan will probably be disappointed to be 6th, the race winner from Hungary. He hasn't capitalised using their medium tyres on Bossman Sean or Jack Hickey in front of him, so a disappointing run. He's still 6th though. It's a good handful of points. He'll be looking to at least maintain it.
Well, indeed, Dom isn't really making this easy for Hoffner. Hoffner's not really rushing his move either, and there's not a lot of laps left, so you don't really want to rush it too much, but you don't want to just sit behind and then we go, Dom makes a mistake, and that frees Lee Hoffner past the McLaren. So next on his list is Joe Sayer of the Toro Rosso.
Dom bottle job there, classic.
Dom bottle job indeed. He's definitely fallen from grace as that man. We currently got Baz on the back of Mike. I believe Mike might have passed Baza.
Looks like he has, yes.
Mike is on the soft tyres as well. But Jack Hickey then definitely got the pace at the minute, pulling away from Bossman Sean. I don't believe Bossman Sean is within DRS anymore, and indeed he is not. So definitely not great for Bossman Sean. Just not got the straight line speed at the minute. Dexter might have his mirrors full of the Williams if he's not careful, because Jack Hickey is looking quick.
Passes Joe Sayer for 7th place.
Indeed he does, getting past the Toro Rosso and up into P7. So next is Jordan, 3.5 seconds behind, so not good. Alistair's now dropped out of the DRS from Kong. Yellow flag into sector 2. I'm not really sure who for, maybe it was just the game throwing out yellow flag. We have yellow flag again. Smokey has now left the session and his DNF, so that's what that was for. I don't believe we'll see a safety car. Don't believe
this late in the race.
No, not this late on, but also definitely out of DRS now, just out of a 10th. So at the minute I think he is still on course to win this race. As it stands, I do believe Kong has a penalty, which isn't great, but Jordan now on the back of Bossman Sean. So Bossman Sean really struggling for pace in the latter stages of this Grand Prix. Jordan, I think he'd be a bit more happy with 5th than 6th, but it's still not great after a very impressive win in Hungary. But Bossman Sean doesn't look awfully quick in a straight line, so maybe this could be easy work for the Racing Point. He's also got Lee coming at a rate of knots as well.
He does, yeah. Bossman Sean looks like he's got he's kind of like a bag full of sand on the front end. He's got no steering at all. It's understeering like mad. Jordan's now all over the back of him with DRS down the straight. This should, I think, unfortunately be easy pickings for Jordan. Bossman Sean seems to be struggling with the front end of that Alfa Mercedes. It is.
Hasn't even got the straight line speed to help him with that either.
No, he hasn't. He's got a good run coming out of that corner though. He's well in the slipstream, but he's not actually staying in the slipstream. Jordan goes defensive, takes the shortest route through that corner. Bossman Sean actually does have a look there around the outside, but Jordan defends that very nicely there. So up to 5th place for Jordan. Now you see in the background Lee Hoffner there. He's only got a lap and a quarter less than to catch up, make up a 2-second gap Not impossible, but it's a very tall order.
It is very tall order indeed, and Mike Noon has spun. He was ahead of Michael Kenny. He's now behind Chris Baza and Michael, so that promotes Michael back into the points. And not quite sure what is happening to Mike Noon in recent seasons of TGP. Brandon Feely all by himself, 26 seconds behind. So unfortunate to be caught up in that incident with Smokey. But we are now on the final lap of this Grand Prix. Bossman Sean still right up behind Jordan, but just doesn't have the straight line speed. Bazard's found his way past Michael Kenny into turn one. Michael Kenny fighting back side by side. Not easy pickings as Michael Kenny, especially in qualifying.
As well.
It is for the last point indeed. Down the inside goes Baza, but it was half-hearted, and Michael Kenny will hold on for now. But Lee Hoffner on the back of these guys. Will he manage to find? He could gain 2 positions here if he's if he plays his cards right. He's already on the back of Bossman Sean. Oh, losing the rear end. That's going to compromise his whole run down the straight, so not what he would have wanted. Baza has now found his way past Michael this time around, and so has Chris Johnson. That was a mega camera. You've seen the Haas flying, and he's done a me. And spinning off into the runoff.
Oh dear.
Won't be surprised if he flies into the wall now. My imprint is still there from yesterday, but attentions now have to turn to Kong Hoffner. Leading on track. Whether he leads in the results, I'm not entirely sure, but Kong wins on the circuit and Alistair wins in the results, so penalty free Renault gives him 25 points. Dexter on the podium with Jack Hickey an impressive 4th, Jordan 5th. No, Lee Hoffner is actually promoted to 3rd.
Wow.
So doesn't lose out massively then, does Lee. Definitely not what he would have wanted. Baza will be the next to come across the line, but this might promote Michael back into the points. Indeed it does.
It does.
Mike Noon next across the line. Will he get anywhere near the points? No, he doesn't. He's staying 12th, so that should be then the round up there.
Yes.
I dismembered McLaren. But it is Alistair then who winning the French Grand Prix. I don't think he led a lap, but kept it clean, and that's what happens, Phil, when you keep your nose clean.
Indeed, I know too well from yesterday. Just keep your nose clean, and you can benefit massively from it.
I think Feely set the fastest lap on the last lap as well. Not like he'll get a point, but
prize.
Yeah,
consolation prize for himself. He's had a terrible night. Two races, 2 incidents in front of him. He's been caught up in it, unfortunately.
But there is the podium. Merck started 1st and 2nd, and they're finishing 2nd and 3rd. Keeping it clean gives you results in TGP, especially when it is on strict, and it is Alistair, who scored nothing in Hungary, bounces back with a win in France, and maybe kick-starting his chance to reclaim 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. Finished 2nd last season, losing out to I think he finished 3rd last season actually, so we wanted to go one better and finish 2nd, and maybe the season after that go into 3rd. Now, I didn't skip the podium, so I'm not sure if I'm going to get the results. I am, and I'll hand over to Phil.
Thank you very much. So the results of the French Grand Prix in TGP2. Alistair, your winner for Renault. Kong Hoffner in 2nd. Lee Hoffner promoted to 3rd by keeping his nose clean, basically. Dexter in 4th. Jack Hickey 5th. Good result, despite the penalties. Still finishing 5th from last. Jordan 6th. Bossman Sean 7th. Jose 8th. Dom Smith 9th. Mike Kenny in 10th for the final points playing positions. Baz 11th. Mike Noon 12th. Chris Johnson 13th. Jacko 14th. And Feely was your last runner there in 15th place.
Indeed he was. So that is the French Grand Prix, and it's been a fantastic night of racing. Absolutely amazing. It's not been the cleanest, Phil, but it's been fantastic. Both races amazing.
Been entertaining, definitely. Hungary was very much so entertaining. This race still entertaining and a bit crazy at times, but
just didn't have the spice of Hungary.
Absolutely.
But Kong still leading the Drivers' Championship after tonight, and that wasn't going to change. But that has been Hungary and France. That was round 13 and 14. Join us for I think it's May 6th. Yes, it is May 6th. For rounds 15 and 16, where we jump over to Austria and Azerbaijan 2. Again, very different, and Azerbaijan a challenging circuit. So that has been TGP2. Join us next week. Well, hopefully it's me and you again, Phil.
Possibly, yes. We'll see
Possibly, yes. So I'll see you May 6th.